If you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering how to write a tech resume that actually gets noticed. Well, you're in the right place because that's exactly what we're diving into today. You see, when I first started applying for jobs, I had no idea how cutthroat the whole process could be. If I didn't know any better, the current state of junior and starter positions have more requirements and qualifications than what it takes to be the president of the United States. And the sad part is that it's no longer all about what you put on your resume anymore. There are very specific things you need to do to make sure your resume even gets seen in the first place. And if you're not aware of the stats and strategies that can get your resume to the top, you're missing out on the opportunity to truly stand out. I'm about to break down the actual numbers that'll show you how little time recruiters spend looking at your resumes, what you can do to increase your chances of making it to the top 3%, and most importantly, how to keep their attention once you've got it. I mean, think about it. I got you to click on this video and you're still listening to me. Does that mean that we're clickbaiting resumes now? Yes, it does. This is all based on what I learned while applying for jobs and what actually worked for me. So you'll get a behind the scenes look at how I crafted my own winning resume and how you can do the same. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to structure your resume, make it ATS compliant, and give yourself the best shot at landing that interview. And maybe, just maybe, you can land that software engineering job before AI takes over and we all lose our jobs anyways. But at least for now, this is the best that we can do. So let's get started. In 2024, the average job posting gets around 250 applicants. 97% of these resumes never see the light of day, and only the top 3% get a job interview. If you're listening to this and thinking that your only way out of this job market is to start an OnlyFans, just know that you're probably right. Recruiters are spending only about 6 to 8 seconds on your resume, and in that time, they're not reading every word you've written. They're scanning for key information, and if they don't see it, you're out. Now, here's what you need to know about those crucial 6 to 8 seconds. 65% of that time is spent reading the work experience section. That's where you really need to shine. But if you're just starting out and don't have much work experience, no worries. Recruiters will shift their focus to your project section or portfolio section, so make sure you've got that covered too. When I first started applying, I didn't realize how little time recruiters actually spent on my resume. I was writing long paragraphs thinking they'd actually read through them, but guess what? They weren't. The majority of recruiters know less about the technical aspects of the job posting than you do. That's why you see job postings requiring 20 plus years of experience on a language that only has existed for 3 years. That's also why nowadays every job has 4 to 5 rounds of interviews, a few with HR to vet you for the technical interview. So if your resume isn't structured in a way that allows someone to easily find your work experience or projects, chances are it'll get tossed aside in those 6 to 8 seconds. Change your mindset to that of a recruiter. The only thing that they care about is whether or not you have a chance to pass the technical interview with the real team that's actually going to decide whether or not you get the job. So now that we know how little time your resume actually gets, let's talk about how to actually structure it to survive those 6 to 8 seconds. First of all, you need to forget all of the fluff. This isn't the place to list your high school debate championship or how you're proficient in Microsoft Word. No one really cares. Your resume needs to look like it's been designed specifically for that job posting. And yes, that's going to take time. Let me tell you what worked for me. When I revamped my resume, the first thing I did was make it easy to skim. I recruiter-proofed it. I divided it into clear sections with headers, work experience, projects, skills, and education. I also stuck to a single page. I know some people like to argue about this, but trust me, unless you're Elon Musk or you've cured cancer, one page is most likely all that you need. And here's the layout that I found got me callbacks. So work experience needs to be front and center. Use bullet points, never paragraphs, to highlight specific accomplishments. Your project section, if you don't have a ton of experience, this is crucial. In fact, if you don't have a project section and you don't have experience, you're not going to get anywhere in this job market. Think of it as your way to show recruiters you've got skills, even if you haven't worked in the industry yet. But keep it focused. Don't include every side project you've ever started. Highlight 2 to 3 that demonstrate your technical skills and the impact that they have had. The skills section, tailor this section to the job you're applying for. Don't list 20 random programming languages. Pick the ones that match the job description. And no team player is not a skill. If you follow this structure, you're not just making it easier for recruiters to find what they need, you're making them want to pass your resume along. Remember, your goal isn't to impress the recruiter, it's to make their job easier. The easier you make it for them to say, yeah, this one looks good enough, the better your chances are of getting that interview. All right, so your resume is recruiter proof, great, but let's not forget about the first line of defense, the applicant tracking system, or ATS. This is the software that scans your resume before a human ever looks at it. If your resume isn't ATS compliant, it's game over before you even get those 6 to 8 seconds. ATS systems are the reason why you need to tailor each resume to the job posting. They don't want fancy, overcomplicated stuff. They want exactly what's listed in the description. When I first learned about ATS, I realized I had been sabotaging myself without even knowing it. Fancy graphics, creative layouts, and even the wrong file format can send your resume straight to the trash. While not optimizing it for the job description will land you below the top 3% threshold. So essentially what the ATS system does, it gets every single resume of every applicant that has applied and it ranks them from best to worst depending on how they match the job description. So if you're not in that top 3%, the recruiter's not even going to see it. So how do you make sure your resume plays nice with ATS? ATS? Well, here's what worked for me. First of all, keep it simple. Use a clean professional format. Stick to standard fonts like Arial or Times New Roman. No crazy colors or graphics, usually just blue or black. The next and probably most important thing is to use keywords strategically. ATS is basically a keyword matcher. Tailor your resume to the job description by including specific terms they're looking for. For example, if the posting mentions React.js and Node.js, make sure that those are in your skills or work experience section. And ideally in the work experience section as part of a natural sentence of a bullet point. But don't just copy and paste the whole job description. Be strategic about it. Now, one thing I noticed after making these changes was an immediate uptick in callbacks. It was like night and day. So remember, the ATS isn't there to make your life harder. It's your tool for recruiters to filter out people who didn't bother to tailor their application. So don't give it a reason to reject you. And yes, that might mean that you're putting out less applications per day or per hour, but they'll be higher quality applications and they'll actually stand a chance to rank against all the other ones. All right, so now you've made it past the ATS. Congrats. But now you're in the recruiter's hands. And let me tell you, it doesn't get any easier. This is where your resume needs to stand out without being obnoxious. It's not just about what you've done, it's about how you present it. So here's the mindset that you need to have. Recruiters aren't just looking for a list of skills and job titles, they're looking for impact. They want to see what you've actually achieved and how you've added value in your previous roles. And no, saying responsible for managing X doesn't count. Everyone's responsible for something. The real question is, what did you accomplish? So here's what worked for me when I revamped my resume to stand out. Focus on results, not responsibilities. Each bullet point in your work experience should show a clear result. Use metrics whenever possible. For example, instead of implemented new software, try something like led the implementation of a CRM tool that increased lead response time by 50%, or improving client retention rates by 20%, right? So numbers catch the eye and show recruiters the real impact you've made. Of course, you want to be using action verbs like spearheaded, optimized, engineered, developed, so on and so on. That one goes without saying. And you also want to personalize it wherever you can, right? Don't make this a generic speech that makes it look like it was written by an AI. Make sure that you have your own personal experiences in there. Every word on your resume should earn its place. If it's not adding value, cut it. I went through mine with a fine-tooth comb and asked myself, for every bullet point, does this help me stand out or is it just filler? I ended up deleting a ton of it. Just keep in mind, your resume isn't just a document, it's a marketing tool. It's your chance to sell yourself to the recruiter. If you can balance professionalism with a little bit of personality and tailor your content to the job, you'll get ahead of 97% of applicants. And at the very least, if you do this, you should be getting callbacks, right? I can't guarantee that you'll pass the interview, but you should be getting callbacks. Now, you've got everything you need to craft a tech resume that actually gets noticed, survives the 6 to 8 second scan, and beats the ATS. But here's the thing, all this advice only works if you have the right experience and projects to showcase. If you're just starting out and don't have much to put on your resume, don't worry, I've got you covered. You can check out the Code Crafters link in the description. It's an amazing platform where you can build real-world projects like your own Redis or HTTP server. These are the kinds of projects that not only teach you valuable skills, but also make your resume stand out. Revamp your resume, build those projects, and tailor everything for the job that you want. If this video helped you out, drop a like and hit subscribe. Good luck, and I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.